Here's some of the basic components. This actually took a lot longer than it looked, so I stripped this compressor down. I bought these clamps on, I think these were on eBay, they're 3-inch roll bar clamps. Did a little bit of port work inside the top of the compressor. I aligned, one of the problems with these cheap air compressors is the piston will be misaligned with the cylinder. And so that had to come out a little bit on the front crankshaft, which involved pushing everything this way. I added these 8-gauge wires to the rear of it and resoldered those onto the brushes for the motor. The solder job wasn't great, but that was definitely on me. This is the reference side to the pressure switch, and this will get grounded to the body. This isn't household wiring, this is marine grade wiring, 2-strand, 8-gauge. I'm going to run this over to the battery. This will be hidden, but I'll probably still wrap it up just because white just doesn't belong under the hood of a car. Just one of those rules. 90-120 pressure switch, check valve. This tank is 0.8 gallons. It'll be mounted like this inside of the car. I'm probably going to go to Home Depot, just get like a stainless steel braided PTFE line. May put a couple feet in between this just to act as an initial cooling loop. We've got, I believe this is a 140 relief valve. This is a quick drain. We'll come out the back, run probably another stainless braided PTFE line over here to this dryer. This is an Ingersoll Rand dryer. All you gotta do is push that to dry it, but you can also pop this down and it has a filter in it, so it's a filter and a dryer. Then we'll go from the dryer out that side using standard push lock stuff. I'm talking myself out of using a valve. I don't even know what pressure is like on it. I don't think so, just unless I'm troubleshooting. All right, so this is where the compressor is going to live. It's going to mount right on that structural member, that structural brace there. Going to run at it, it'll be at a little bit of an angle just to clear the air box, so that way it'll make getting into the air box easier. The switch will probably remain right here. I'm going to come off the intake side, and I think I'm just going to drop a hose right into a grommet, right on the back side of the air filter. I just got to figure out how deep the air filter protrudes back into here. I think it sits on this side and pushes in this way. Don't want to drill right in the top of it. Looks like I can probably hang the tank. Is going to fall out right in this area somewhere. The wiring and everything will come over, and I'm looking for a cool area that's easy to access, where I can put the dryer. I don't know, it might go down in here behind the battery. I'm not too sure, but still got a bunch of wiring. Got to run wires to the back. Get all the lines plumbed. So gonna throw a few riv nuts over there to mount the compressor. I made up some vibration dampeners. This will go right below the clamp, and that'll go right above it. All it is I just took a hole saw, and that's how I make little rubber grommets. They're not the prettiest. You can clean them back up with a pair of scissors, but a hole saw makes a great little rubber isolator, not grommet, isolator. There it is, mounted up, bolted in. I tucked the factory felt covering back into it, just as rigid as everything else around it. So isolators are all installed. Let's see if I can shot that in there without pulling it all back out. Focus. Yep, there we go. And then I'll just tucked right back into it. The cable will go all the way around, under, over, across. Did want to tie this directly into the battery ground to make sure we have a strong ground. The other end of it will tie into that box right there. I'm probably going to loop that back because I'm not sure where that box is eventually going to end up. But for the next, indefinite forever, it's going to live right there. We're going to keep pulling accessories off of it. This is I believe a 0.8 gallon tank. Yep. 0.8 of a gallon. And I think it's going to end up, let's get a little room here. I don't have a softener on the back of this. They're just going into it like that. Still have to tie that, but look at that. It's going to end up right next to that threaded hole. This should be where the tank is going to end up. I don't want this drain valve to drain on top of this ECM or this module, whatever this is. I'm betting as close as what it is, that's probably something to do with the ABS system. So I don't want anything to drain onto that plug at the back, the box, or the plug next to it. So it's gonna have to sit in here, you know, probably at a little bit of an angle, and have a couple threaded holes right there. I can get the thread restore kit out here, find out what size it is, and then I may have to tie in a secondary location up underneath here, which would be behind the dash. All right, so did figure out how the tank's going to go there. This will have to be redone because I want to have a strut tower brace going right across there, and in turn I may build that strut tower brace myself and make this bolt off to the bottom of it. But here's what we're going to do. That's going to hang right inside of there, probably at an angle, probably not. It's probably just going to spray wherever it wants to spray. We got to get this done. Cheez-It box, the best snack ever, and turned into a little template here that I am subsequently going to have to fight to get it off, but I'll stick it back on there for the sake of making a video. And wham! So that'll ride right there. That'll probably have a pair of mounts come up over to a straight mount, and then I'll still probably tie that bracket in somewhere back in here, that way it doesn't do the old thing. Gonna make it out of this piece of scrap, which I believe was originally the bed of a conveyor, and then later got turned into an inner fender for a trailer, but either somebody marked it wrong or somebody cut it wrong. I'm not blaming anybody. I know the guy. He's trying his best, and ended up back on the scrap pile. But now it's going to be a mount for air compressor to tie into a strut bracket. Strut tower bracket, strut top bracket. Alright, got this little bracket made up. Ended up leaving a bolt off the end of it. It worked better that way. It definitely wasn't related to a miscut and misdrilled hole. That's tacked on, little flux core on it, and cutting out these little side gussets. I like the arc bottom better. I was going to do a point. I thought about making a big one, but you're really only attaching across maybe a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch there. So it doesn't need to be much, just something to take the spring out of that, out of this piece. It stops right before the nut, right before the nut's going to sit on the bottom, and I'll probably just stitch a couple spots on those and then pull it off later and TIG weld it and paint it. TIG it up. Alright, I'm going to continue to flux core this. We'll sand it all down smooth. I want to get that tank mounted, this wiring zipped up, and probably installed at least to the point where I can bump test the compressor. I may get the ports down to the intake tonight. I don't have the stainless jumper line, and I have not plotted any wiring other than the main. And now I'm thinking I could have screwed up a little bit. I may need to, what do I need to do? Do I need to tap that? The pressure switch. I really don't want to run a line all the way back over here. Crap. Didn't think about that. I'll figure something out. Alright, so I'm going to ponder on that while I finish stitching this up. I don't want it to warp too bad. Once it gets cool enough that it doesn't totally vaporize the paint, it'll get painted. We'll consider that baked on powder coating. And we are just about done with this. Well, there's the end of a good third of a day's work. All in, I would say, yeah, that's probably about 6 hours from tearing down the motor and resoldering the brushes onto the 8-gauge wires, building the mounts out of the 3-inch light bar mounts. They're 3-inch, they're light mounts for 3-inch tubing. There we go. Few mild porting mods on the compressor. Just cleaning things up, recentering the piston. You can see where the intake goes into the air intake. I'm going to give this a test run in the morning, see how easy it is to service this filter. May actually break the GoPro out and do some actual filming. The wiring for the pressure switch, I am just going to run 2-strand, real fine 2-strand over to the solenoid box here. Zip tie everything up behind here. Everything does clear. So But I am not satisfied with this. And if you can see that little bit of flex, that's taking, I mean, it's 3+ pounds of pressure to get it to move that much, but that tank weighs a couple of pounds. So the oscillation of that on a long gravel road, I don't see that making it 50,000 miles. I don't see that making it 10,000 miles without developing some sort of crack. So I am going to come back and I am going to have to brace it into those 2 threaded holes there. They line up perfectly to run a brace up the side right here. So I'll just take a piece of angle iron and we'll trim it. We'll notch that side out and then we'll notch one of these sides out to run that up. Give that a brace. I did have to bend and flex the rear ABS crossover lines. I'm guessing that's what that is. Let me see. Yeah. Sorry, this car has been so reliable, I don't really know my way around the hood. Also, another piece of rubber isolator here, and this mount will also get a rubber isolator underneath it when it's all said and done. Let's see. Street L to stainless steel braided PTFE line, tying to here. Considering a loop, I feel like I ought to put a loop. And outlets. So I do want to run this regulator. It's a very compact regulator, but these are made to snap into a junction box. Industrial guys, you'll recognize this right away. But it was cheap. It was only about 26 bucks. And if you know the right warehouse, man, I'm gonna live. Let's see if I can figure out a better angle to get in here. All right, so that's gonna live up underneath this corner, and I'll still be able to reach it from out here to get the water out of it. So it takes forever to get to 120, like more than 5 minutes. So we probably will never really use it at that high. I'm letting it build up, but just got a little 20-foot hose. I mean, that'll do what you want, and then with it running, you know, maybe clean your clothes off a little bit and do a lot with it. Scary kids when they walk by, but I think it'll be pretty useful. Ow! Watch your step. If it doesn't completely blow, it's got like a little rubber piston ring on it. I think that's where the more high-end compressors, you know, have the better features. I think it's all because of the actual piston. This thing's just got like a little rubber ring on it, and I'm betting that as we get up there to the 100, 110 range, it starts overcoming the seal that it has on the cylinder wall. One thing I did learn, this thing has a smart alternator on it. This alternator is actually pretty powerful. It's over 100 amps. The first time I hooked this up, I noticed that the compressor was surging, like it was getting power and not getting power. Sure enough, the alternator was spiking and then coming down. I found out if you just turn on the lights, it's like turn the headlights on, turn the AC on, it triggers a mode where it runs continuously and free charges instead of smart charges. And so, you know, something to keep in mind if you got one of these, or any vehicle with smart charger, and you're trying to do something like this. If you notice your, you know, lights or something on and off, I guess that would be enough of a load. I don't know how much load it takes to trigger it, but that compressor wasn't enough. Let's say that. Turn your headlights on. So this project is done, other than wrapping a few things up. Thanks for watching, and I'm trying to get better at these videos. Not really sure what I'm doing. I get, I guess you'd say, self-conscious or something. I typically enjoy teaching, but teaching in a way that I'm recording myself is kind of bugs me out, but I'll get better at it. Stay with it.